Now let us establish a fundamental yet often overlooked principle when it comes to the relationship between Allah and his Messiah. Again, we're teaching on the Messiah. In the Holy Quran, it states, O Prophet, keep thy duty to Allah and obey not the disbelievers and the hypocrites. Surely Allah is ever knowing, wise, and follow that which is revealed to thee from thy Lord. Surely Allah is ever aware of what you do. And trust in Allah, and Allah is enough as having charge of affairs. Now it would seem ludicrous that a divine messenger of God would obey disbelievers and hypocrites. And if that is the case, that it is ludicrous, then why would Allah caution the messenger, in this case the Messiah, against obeying disbelievers and hypocrites? Well, belief and disbelief are relative to what each of us specifically knows. As such, at any point, those who claim to believe in Allah and in his Messiah based on a specific knowledge may end up disbelieving in him when new or additional knowledge comes to light. The more Allah reveals to his Messiah, the more the Messiah knows and believes as it relates to his commitment to do the will of Allah. This is natural and sets him above those to whom he is sent to warn and guide, which is all of humanity. So in other words, if Allah sends a messenger to a town to bring the people into his knowledge and favor, Allah's knowledge and favor, Almighty God's knowledge and favor, then we just have to walk very cautiously when we begin to question the actions of someone who is divinely raised to guide us, or we who are on the chopping block of God's wrath. So you're not killing a messenger, you're slitting your own throat, or I would be doing that. Well, why would the Messiah forego what he knows and believes to acquiesce to the wishes and whims of those whom he is sent to warn and guide, who know far less about Allah's will than he? For example, if you know multiplication, let's bring it down home, and I know multiplication and division, then naturally I will believe in mathematical formulas that you know nothing about, because I know division and you don't. However, it is almost guaranteed that you or I will have an opinion about something that we know nothing or very little about, especially since we live in a world where arrogance, self-righteousness, and narcissism reign supreme. And the Holy Quran says that. You argue about that which you know a little of, but you also argue about that which you know nothing about, because it's easy for anybody to have an opinion just based on a thought instead of actual fact. So no matter how strong one's opinion on a problem that involves division and multiplication might be, particularly one who knows no division, it would be foolish for me or you to obey and follow those opinions. Well, does the Messiah, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, know from God that which we do not know? Well, in the Holy Quran, it states, the knower of the unseen, so Allah makes his secrets known to none, except a messenger whom he chooses. None except one he chooses. The rest of us are the none. So he knows from Allah what we don't know. Now, this also is affirmed in other places in the Holy Quran. So if the secret knowledge requires the Messiah to execute divine commands, then how will those who claim to believe in him respond when they learn of his actions based upon his obedience to a divine command that they hardly know anything about? This presents a challenge to their faith, And this too is affirmed in the Holy Quran, where it states, O you who believe, not disbelievers, O you who believe, ask not about things which, if made known to you, will give you trouble. And if you ask about them when the Quran is being revealed, they will be made known to you. Allah pardons this, and Allah is forgiving, forbearing. A people before you indeed asked such questions, then became disbelievers therein. The trouble here, as indicated, is the person's vulnerability to disbelief and consequently hypocrisy if they continue too long in a state of disbelief. This is why faith is required to sustain our commitment to Allah and His Messiah, especially when we are confronted with the pain involved in our quest to remain committed. So in the Gospels of the Bible, the Messiah is prophesied to say, I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. Well, when will we be able to bear this advanced knowledge or advanced reality? Since he said we can't bear them now, that indicates that at some future point we'll be able to bear what is kept from us now, to keep us from plunging into disbelief and then hypocrisy. Talking about believers or those who believe in God. The notion of being able to bear something means that we have to be strong enough to endure the difficulty attached with knowing this knowledge. That's what bearing means. It didn't say that, there's many things that I could tell you, but if I told you, you could take them and you would, be a walk in the park or tiptoeing through the tulips. No, all knowledge that's advanced requires our ability to bear that knowledge, which means we endure stress based upon that knowledge. Now, this does not mean that some people who once believe in Allah and the Messiah will not fall into disbelief. That happens all the time. However, those whom Allah has ordained to bear the weight of this new knowledge will be able to bear it. Others will grow to bear it in time. Now, when it comes to the Messiah, his function is affirmed through his work, which is written of in the messianic prophecies. So this reality is fundamental to recognizing the Messiah. So I'm not teaching theory when I talk about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's function. His work bears witness, and this is what the scriptures say. It states in the Gospel of John. But I have a greater witness than that of John, meaning John the Baptist. For the works which the Father hath given me to finish, meaning his work is tied to his Father's work. In this case, it would be the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The same works that I do bear witness of me, that the Father hath sent me. There's a congruency or a common denominator in the work of the Messiah, in the work of his Father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, on the throne. And we have 40 years of that work from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan as great, not just evidence, but proof.